Hey, hey, hey. Welcome to another Tuesday Live podcast where today we have a really special guest. We're going to talk about some leads, right?
Generating leads.
And, I've learned from one of our coaches, if you don't have leads, you don't have a business. So today, this Tuesday, you got myself, Joe, and Jenn. And today we have a special guest, Brandon Bateman, who we've met at the Family Mastermind. So let's give him a little bit of a round of applause, everybody.
Welcome, Brandon.
Hey, thank you guys. It's always a little bit weird in these like live experiences where like, there's people, but you can't really see them or anything. I'm just going to count on there being a massive applause there.
There was absolutely. Yeah. Everyone's like cheering and hooting and hollering. Like, yeah, we'd love to take it back. Let us get to know Brandon. How did you get into this crazy world of real estate investing / lead generation? And let us know, where are you in the country and all the things.
Yeah, I'm more than happy to share all of those things. So I live in Utah, close to Salt Lake City. Everybody asks me where exactly, and then none of those people actually know any other places in Utah other than Salt Lake City and maybe Park City. So, anyways, I have been in this like real estate world for I want to say about 6.5 years now. Which has been awesome. So my background, what's a little bit different about me from most people in the industry, is I don't come from the industry. I come from a different industry. I come from the world of digital marketing, not necessarily the world of real estate. And then the niche that I fit in right now is digital marketing in the real estate investing space. It was about 6.5 years ago. I had a company, and we had clients in digital marketing across many different industries, like everything from software companies to e-commerce companies to service companies. And then one of our clients was a real estate wholesaler, a part of the business world I didn't know that much about at the time. I guess needless to say, they did awesome. They sent us a bunch of referrals. At some point, this is about 3.5 or 4 years ago, I decided to cut off all other sides of the business and we focused just on real estate investing. And then today we work to generate online leads for about 190 real estate investors across different markets.
Wow.
So you just kind of stumbled into real estate, like not even in real estate.
Not on purpose.
No, not at all on purpose. And I actually, I had a client in real estate for multiple years before I really even did a lot in real estate. So I just kind of slowly learned about it. But it was just one tiny piece of the business, not the main thing. But yeah, honestly, the way it happened, I wish I could say, because objectively looking at it, does it make sense to specialize as a company? Yes, it does. Was I smart enough to do that? No, of course not. We all learn our lessons over time. What happened to me is we just started getting referrals in real estate. We started getting more and more referrals. And at the time I was struggling with hiring. So we actually got to the point where we had a waiting list for clients in real estate, and we had a waiting list for clients outside of real estate. I looked at it as a business owner and I was like, you know what? For every 5 clients that we onboard out within real estate, we can onboard 1 outside of real estate. It doesn't make sense because it makes more sense to do more of the same stuff. So at that point, kind of forcibly, I got rid of the other side of the business because my back was against the wall and it just didn't make sense to do that anymore. But when we really focused just on working with real estate investors, it was really fascinating. Like the kind of people you could attract to the team are different than those that just want to do generic work, and the kind of ways that you can run the campaigns are different, and you start learning there's new insights that we can drive, and there's new efficiencies that we can have, and there's other places we can leverage those resources. And that was really the game changer. Like this company was almost nothing before we started focusing on real estate. I think I had like a team of maybe 3 people at that point, and then since we've gone to real estate, our revenue's gone way higher. We have about 30 people on the team now. We work with probably at least way more clients. A percentage wouldn't even, we've grown a ton since we started focusing just on real estate. So it's like one of the best business decisions I ever made. And I wasn't smart enough to actually make it. I was kind of forced into it.
Well, that's so important because as a business owner, you are forced, like you said, to say no to things in order for your business to make profit, to make sense. And sometimes it takes us a little longer to see where we should be saying no to things. I know I can speak for myself.
Well, I think it's important too. You pivot, right? You made a pivot move. You're doing one thing, kind of stumble into something else. realized that like that's the way to go, and so you made a business decision as an owner. And so many times people are like, hey Joe, like, do you walk me through all the moves? I'm like, well, it's your business, you're going to run it. Like, we might give you some strategies of what to implement in your business, but it's up to you. And you made obviously a great choice there. And obviously your business exploded. So what other things were you into besides real estate with your marketing? What else was it?
So if you look at it, I'm making up numbers here, so like don't quote me. I'm a pretty precise person, but like if we're just talking generally, like 95% of digital marketing companies aren't industry specific, or if they are industry specific, they're like, we do SaaS, e-commerce, and financial companies,
right?
Something like that. Or you got like 3 categories, and then each one of those categories like is massive, like e-commerce. Like what does that even mean?
Right.
so many companies fall into that niche, and they're also like less similar to each other. You know, if you're selling ping pong tables online versus a smartphone for kids, those are really different. You know, everything's different about that marketing, about the customer you're going after, about the platforms, etc. So yeah, we were kind of specialized. Like we do search and social advertising paid, which means generally like Google ads and Facebook ads. But yeah, I work with a variety of different companies. But what I did, there was a benefit of that because we would learn a lot. Like I started to focus on how do I work with some of the companies that are spending some of the largest budgets in this space. So I had clients spending like hundreds of thousands, or in some cases even millions of dollars a month on online marketing. And it's really fascinating what you learn when you get into those kinds of scenarios and you start to rub shoulders with those people and you start to understand how those campaigns are run and how those companies are run. Because it turns out the best talent in the world is usually found in those places. The best talent in the world doesn't want to work with a local real estate investor with a 10 grand a month marketing budget, just because if someone else is spending $1 million a month on marketing, who has a bigger problem to be solved that they're more willing to pay more money to fix?
Right.
It's going to be the really big company. So anyways, that's what was really fascinating to me. And I learned a lot of those tactics, and then I kind of bring those down to, I learned I don't really like working with big clients because it's kind of like working in a big company when you're working with big clients, and there's a bunch of red tape, and then, you know, you don't have a lot of control over things, and you want to make an impact, and you can't actually make that impact. So I learned that like being an agency that works with corporate clients is like having a corporate job. So not interested in that, but I learned so much about those strategies that I can bring to the real estate investing world, which has been really fascinating.
Wow, that's impressive. I mean, you don't even think, but yeah, you learn from many things, like what my previous job was, what I've took from that and what's implementing in real estate. And so many things can translate into other businesses, things that you've learned. So you buckled down, focus on real estate. That's your main niche now. So what are your go-tos? Like, obviously you mentioned you do some Google ads and then you do Facebook ads.
Yeah, both of those channels are for sure our go-tos, and since being just in the real estate space, we've added SEO as a service as well. So that's our big 3. It's Google ads, Facebook ads, and SEO. The most popular of those is probably Google ads. You've probably heard of PPC in this space. It's kind of like sometimes I compare it to CrossFit or veganism, where like if somebody does it, like, you know that they do it. It's one of those things. Like there's raving fans about this.
Absolutely. I have to ask, because like we've had investor friends who literally will say, don't click my link because it charges me so much money. And I'm like, wait, what? Like, I can't even go check your page out. Like, can you explain that a little bit?
Yeah. Let's talk about the foundation of like how PPC marketing works. So let's just say you look at Google as and I'll try to be sensitive to those that might not be visually looking at this. That could be
break it down for us,
a podcast or whatever the case is, because otherwise I'll just show you. But let's just say you make a search on Google, you're going to find search results on Google, right? It's a search engine. That's what it does. It's going to give you 2 distinct types of results. The first ones are going to be paid results, and the second ones are going to be organic. Usually, if you're searching anything somewhat competitive, like, you know, sell my house fast or something like that, plenty of advertisers are interested in that. So you're usually going to have about 4 ads at the top. Google kind of caps it there. Even if there's 100 people interested, there's going to be 4 right there. And then under that, you have organic listings. So the way that you get into that top section is through pay-per-click ads, hence PPC being the name that a lot of people use to kind of designate the marketing channel. The way that those ads work is when that person searches every one of these Google Ads accounts, they put in a bid of how much they're willing to pay for that. And let's just say there's hundreds of accounts that are interested in that click. Well, only those that bid in the top of that range, and there's some other factors that make it a little more complicated, but only those top bidders are going to actually show up there on the top of the page. And then it's free, actually, believe it or not, to show up. The moment someone clicks on your ad, that's when it costs you money as the advertiser. Hence, it's called pay-per-click marketing. So yeah, when they say, like, let's just say you're Googling around and your friend has an ad there and you click on it, like the moment you clicked on that, you cost them money. Now, it depends on how much they bid to be able to get there, which probably depends on how much of a motivated seller they think you are, which who knows how, maybe it depends on what you searched, a whole bunch of other factors. But yeah, probably that click could cost your friend probably anywhere from $20 to $100 typically.
Just a click on
Just a clicking.
right? So
Yep,
if I were to Google sell my house fast or sell my house now, Brandon's kind of talking about, well, there's going to be obviously a whole bunch of searches, but when you look at the top four, it'll actually say real small letters ad, right?
Yeah.
So you'll know which ones are the paid ads and which ones are for free. So you mentioned there's a bunch of free ones underneath that, right? And you mentioned SEO. So for some of our friends, we know what that means. For some of our friends, they might not know what SEO means. And is that a way that you can get on those free ones? How does that work?
Yeah, welcome to marketing, where we have about 200 different three-letter. I forgot what they're called. What's it called when you have like the three
like an acronym?
Acronym is the word I was looking for. So yeah, that's where, like, so another way to think of this is search marketing, right? We're going to market through the search engine. And there's going to be paid and organic. That's synonymous with me saying PPC and SEO. It's just PPC would mean pay-per-click, which is the type of paid advertising. SEO stands for search engine optimization. The difference between these, so if you think like, what's the end result? The end result is you show up on Google when someone searches, and then they click to your website. And then, hopefully if it's the right kind of person, your website's right, there's a decent chance that they become a lead after that point, and then hopefully they become a deal after that point, right? So that's your standard marketing funnel. The difference between the paid and organic side, or the PPC versus SEO side, is how you get there. So paid, this is Google's revenue model, right? It's super simple. Like, you pay money. It's very capitalist. Whoever's willing to pay more money is more likely to get there. There's other factors too, but that's really important. And then the organic side, you earn your way there instead. So that's the difference. So if you look at why does Google exist, or what keeps Google in business? Like, if you start going to Google and you never get answers for any of the things you're looking for, do you think that you'll go to Google again? Probably not, right? So we have this, like, one of the biggest companies in the world. All it would take is their algorithm to be screwed up, and they would crash into the ground in a series of probably weeks. That would happen, right? So it's really, really important for Google that it does what it's actually designed to do, which is when you search for something, it gives you the best result. How you define best in Google's words is basically relevant and authoritative. So let's just say you search sell my house fast, you'll probably find that Google has probably even into the billions of pages that could index for that. So why does it show one of those pages, not another one on the page? It has to do with how relevant and authoritative it believes that content is. So if you're searching for a way to sell my house fast, well, it's going to think, is this page about selling your house fast, or is it about selling your house slow, right? That's relevance. And then authoritative comes down to, do we actually believe this is like a credible company? Do we believe that this is something that people will view as like a quality source that they're grateful to have found, not just some fly-by-night company or a brand new website, whatever the case is. And there's a lot of things that go into like how you make your website relevant and authoritative. But SEO is basically the game of doing the right things so that in Google's eyes, you're the perfect solution for their people. So when you won't pay them, but they'll just put you there because they think you earn it, you deserved it. And that's the magic of SEO. Each time someone clicks on that, it doesn't cost you money. And that real estate where you're showing up on that page, that's like the real estate of the internet. It's like imagine like a prime retail space where there's a lot of foot traffic and actual real estate. Like, that's like what those search results are on Google. So they're really, really valuable. But there's no easy way to get there. It's a slower strategy. And just because you don't pay for them doesn't mean you don't pay for them. You still have to like somehow get the work done that convinces Google that you belong there. And hence there exists this whole industry built around search engine optimization, where agencies like my own will do all that work for you to help Google see you differently to climb in those rankings. But it's never an overnight game. So that's the difference. PPC is like a light switch. We're paying for the ads today, we're up there today. Tomorrow we stop paying for the ads, we're gone. SEO is more like a slow growth, and hence it's very, very valuable but harder to get.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the neat thing about it is there's two ways to the top. Do you want to pay for speed and convenience and get up there quick, right? And that's what Brandon and his team work on. Or do you want to build it up over time to where maybe you're not paying for that click every time, but you could be more relevant by sharing the right information. And I heard this interesting thing that not too long ago, but Google is really not a search engine. They appear to be a search engine, but they're all for lead generation. And that's really the focus of Google is lead gen. And that's what they're doing. And they really it's a genius way to do it. So you're right. They have to make sure that the information they're providing is accurate and, according to your search. So
Absolutely.
If I'm a new real estate investor and I want to get into this, what do you kind of prefer for a newer investor? Maybe I'm looking to do my first deals. I'm building a website. Where do you guys build websites too? Like, what is that looking like?
Yeah. I mean, there's a ton of different things that we can unpack here. So when it comes to a newer investor, I guess you have to figure out which piece of this puzzle do you want to bite off and at what time.
Mm-hmm.
So like a lot of people just kind of think this is synonymous with like having a website. Like there's even some people out there that believe like you put a website up there, you'll just start getting leads. Like even if you
wait, that doesn't work. That doesn't work.
It doesn't work. Well, let me rephrase that. It doesn't work today. Once upon a time, that was true. Like you could be the most relevant and authoritative thing for Sell My House Fast if you went and built like the first website about that 20 years ago. If you wanted to. But that's not the way that we live in today. So so there's kind of multiple purposes of a website, and you don't want to do it all at once. So like let's just say like I just really need a website, just so like when people look me up, they can find me. I might need some reviews online, like some online credibility, basic online presence. If you're thinking on that side, then there's some things that you can even do yourself. It might not make sense to work with an agency. So that's going to be true for like some of the newest of investors. So there's two things I recommend for every new investor. Number one, get a website. There's cheap ways to do it. One not cheap option is Carrot. If you've heard of Carrot, it's just carrot.com. I think it costs you like, I think it's a little bit more expensive than it was $60. It's probably like $80 or $90 a month now. And you could like leave this right now, go to your computer, try to set up a website, and then within 30 minutes have one like set up. Wow. It's really, really easy and it's really cheap. Versus if you come and try to build a website with like us or something, you're going to pay thousands of dollars. And for what if you're not going to use it as like a foundation for like a solid SEO strategy or something like that? Like sometimes, like if you're just looking to just have the basics done at a reasonable cost, there's ways to do that. The second thing that I would do is get a Google business profile. This is, if you just Google, like create a Google business profile, you'll find that you can set it up for free with Google. They're going to send you a postcard to verify your address and all that kind of stuff. And this is where you start like building up those reviews on Google, which will actually be pretty influential in your SEO in the future, should you decide to go down that route. It also is another credibility source for your business. And there's no way in like 3 years to go back and make it as if you've had that and been nurturing it for the past 3 years. This is one of those things where you just plant the seed like early on. It's super easy. So if we're just like, if you're just like minimal budget, you're just getting started, but you know this is like a real business and you're going to do this for a while, like I would definitely do both those things. Let's just say you're at the point where you don't just want like some type of online presence for reputation. You want leads. That's a different story. So which channels you start with and when you invest in them, some of it depends on your market, and you probably want to talk to somebody that knows something about that. I can tell you for a lot of people, PPC is a common first channel to go after because it is one of the quicker ones. Like if you're going to compare PPC to SEO, SEO is going to take a long time. And people see that two different ways. The first way they see it is it's going to take forever. So I might as well start that first. the second way people see it is it's not going to generate revenue for a while. Let me start with something that generates revenue first, and then I'll do that. At the end of the day, like if you have the capital to start it, like I would start SEO as soon as you have the capital. If we're talking about like other long-term investments you can compare it to, like let's just say you're putting your money into a rental property. Would I put it into a rental property or into SEO? I'd put it into SEO every day, right? But would I do that if it's like my last, like my thin marketing budget? Would I go put that into SEO if I'm like really needing to snowball this and have a quicker cash conversion cycle? No, I would go towards something like PPC. The number one thing that beginners sometimes don't like about PPC is it can be expensive. Usually per month, you're going to want to spend $5,000 to $15,000 depending on kind of where you're at starting out, and then you could end up scaling that more. So for some people, they prefer to like hit the phones, do some cold calling, whatever, until they get some stable deal volume. But at some point, people are wanting like that right kind of lead quality. So PPCs in a lot of these online marketing channels are commonly used as the channel to like get you from a stable revenue generating small business point to a more scalable business that has higher volume. You'll see it's most common among investors that are kind of making that scaling jump compared to just starting.
Well, and I'm glad you brought that up, because really what we focus on is how for our clients in the beginning, especially, to generate some leads for free, right? There's many ways to generate leads for free, because what I tell everybody is go get a deal or two, go get some revenue in your pocket. And then when you're ready to hit, put some gas on that fire and really get it to ignite, that's when you've got to find somebody like Brandon and his company and have them walk you through what steps to really start getting your business propelling. So if I were to do PPC, do you have an average idea of like, how long does it take for me to do leads? How long does it take to do deals? That's probably got to vary on the market, right? Even probably cost per lead. Are you in Miami or are you in Idaho? Probably gonna be a big difference, right, on what's going on.
I don't know, is there?
I don't know, maybe.
There is, but it's not based on the things that people expect. So let's talk about that, because that's kind of fascinating. When it comes to timing, I'm going to start with like a different. Let me answer your question with a different question that's the equivalent to what you just asked, but in a different context with different words. So let's just say I have a die here. It's a normal 6-sided die. When you get the 6 on this die, you get $600. Every time you roll the die, you get $0 until you get the 6, and you get $600. However, to roll the die costs $50. Would you roll the die?
Yeah, you got it. That's how you're gonna get your shot.
You would roll the die. Okay. Let's just say you found somebody who was really broke. All they have is $50. Would you tell them to roll the die or no?
No. Probably
not, right? Where would you draw the line? Like, how much money is enough money to roll a die? Do you need $100? Do you need $150? Because we're in this scenario where it's a game that the more often you play it, the more likely it is that you're going to succeed. Because at the end of the day, the expected value of the roll is greater than the cost. Hence, there's a return on investment. But if we don't invest enough, it's not that our die is broken if we don't invest enough, or that it couldn't work for us, or that it wouldn't work, but that maybe the risk is a little bit too great. We have like a thin likelihood of increasing our money a lot, and then we have a large likelihood of losing our money, right? So that's kind of how I think about this. So where you draw that line depends on your risk tolerance. Like, I've had it happen. We've had the client before that like puts this on a credit card and says like, I hope this works. And I've had that go like really good, and I've had that go really not good before, right? It's not something I suggest. So I would say like timing is a key thing here. And for me, in my more conservative nature, I would say 6 months is what you want to give yourself for this new channel. So you have enough time to like actually gather that data. And a lot of people say like, well, what if it's not working and now I'm stuck doing it for 6 months because I've committed to that? And I would say you don't really know if it's working or not until probably about 6 months in, or how well it's working. Like you might have some type of idea, right? but it takes a little bit of time. So that's kind of how I would think about this a little bit. It's not a matter of like, does it work or not? It's more a matter of like, how much time do you need? And about 6 months, I'd say, is a good time frame, first of all. And then to answer your second question about how many, or about like cost per lead and what that could look like depending on where your areas are and stuff like that. This is something a little bit unique to online marketing, in the sense this is true for both PPC and for Facebook ads. And the concept here is that there's an inverse correlation between the number or the size of the locations that you target and your cost per lead. So what a lot of people assume, like I'll give you a classic example of this, Phoenix. Phoenix is where like it feels like every real estate guru ever is from. People think it's like the most competitive market. It's like a massive market by a population for sure. Even Mesa, just a tiny part of the Phoenix metro, is one of the biggest cities in the United States. So this is big metros. People are just like, oh, I'm going to pay like tons of money per lead in Phoenix. And you don't. The leads in Phoenix and the leads in Chattanooga. Like I had a client that was literally like based in Phoenix and they expanded into Chattanooga, Tennessee. And I told them this, I'm like, you're going to pay more for leads in Chattanooga than you do in Phoenix. I promise you. And they did. And they were like mind blown, because that's not how it works with a lot of marketing channels. And the reason being, the more population you're targeting, generally the lower your cost per lead could be. So it's not that Chattanooga is expensive or Phoenix is cheap. It's that when you target 8 million people, it's cheaper than when you target 700,000 people.
Right.
Those aren't exact, like, I don't remember the exact populations of those different markets. I think it's probably a little bit different than that. But that's the concept. So if you found 5 Chattanoogas and put them together, then you could have a really low cost per lead. So it's less about there being a cost per lead per market, and it's more about there being a cost per lead per like way that you target a market and how many markets you target and how big those markets are. So that's where you'll find with PPC, there's a lot of companies that even do multi-market strategies virtually. They're generating leads from a lot of markets. Like we'll have clients, if you open it up, you're like, I could take leads in the United States anywhere, you can get leads for like $50. Versus if I really just need to be in this like deep metro, in one metro, we're finding anywhere from $200 to $400 per lead being pretty common. Does that make a little bit of sense?
Absolutely. And obviously, like you said, population's got to do a big portion of it, right? So we're in Tampa. Obviously, it's got a fair population size, so you'll be able to get your message in front of a whole bunch of people. Now I want to bring up Facebook, because you do Facebook too. So is that pretty close to the same? What is that like with Facebook?
Facebook's a fun conversation, because if you look at it, you might talk about like PPC is the marketing channel where people do it.
We're getting a little feedback. I'm sorry. I don't know. You're kind of echoing.
Let me see something change on that. I could do different for you guys.
Oh no.
Is this better?
Can you talk now?
Yeah.
Yeah, is this any better?
Yeah, there you go.
It was strange. Okay.
I've never heard that before.
Yeah, change to a different mic. It's probably not going to sound as good, but hopefully it doesn't echo. So,
There you go.
but we were talking about
Facebook.
Oh, Facebook. Yeah. So Google has a great reputation in this industry. People love it. Facebook has a worse reputation in this industry. And what a lot of people will say is that, so a little bit of background on Facebook, and this happens on Google too, but it impacts us a little bit more on Facebook. Turns out there's some really important regulations called equal opportunity housing regulations. The way those have been applied to digital marketing in this industry is kind of fascinating, and it happens such that a company like yours, if it were to market to sellers, maybe in one zip code but not in another, or people of one age group but not of another, then that would be considered discrimination against the other age groups or the other zip codes or the other genders and a lot of other things. So basically the targeting criteria are a little bit more limited, and that happened years ago. And then a lot of people kind of gave up on Facebook in this industry. we found a way to make it work, and it's kind of a little bit more complicated. A lot of people don't understand super well how it works, even our clients that kill it with Facebook. But I guess at the end of the day, our average, just to give you some like basic benchmark numbers, on Google, it takes generally about 15 leads to get a contract. On Facebook, our benchmark was about 16 leads per contract. Actually, we haven't even published this. I was just looking at the most recent data yesterday. It sounds like it's now up to like 17, maybe 18, but I guess really, really close. A lot of people expect Facebook's like 50, 60 leads per contract. And the reality is it is, unless you run it a certain way. So the way that most companies in this industry run Facebook, they hate it. And then they cut it. The way that we run it, our clients are more likely to like it because we can push that lead quality up. And don't get me wrong, we're not just like raising lead quality, we're pushing lead cost up with the quality by like the ways that we're targeting stuff. It's all more expensive, but at the end of the day, we're able to generally get pretty comparable results to PPC with a few kind of disclaimers. The first one being it varies a little bit more per market than PPC does. The second disclaimer being that it's usually a little bit lower lead cost and a little bit lower lead quality than PPC. So it often actually is a slightly higher return, but it does that through a decent bit lower lead cost and then just a smidge lower lead quality. And then the last factor is that it's not usually quite as scalable. And this is one of the reasons that you won't hear as much about Facebook in this industry, because let's just say in Tampa, you make Facebook awesome for you guys, and then you're like, let's take it to 10 deals a month. You might not be able to, whereas on PPC, you're often finding yourself able to produce 3 to 5 times the amount of volume of transactions at 3 to 5 times the budget of Facebook, but like the total scale potential in the market is higher in PPC than it is in Facebook. Does that make a little bit of sense?
Yeah, absolutely. So why would somebody use Facebook over PPC?
It's diversification, and at times it can work much better than Google PPC. And if you work with an agency like mine, you'll find that your cost to, like, let's just say you did just PPC, you'd have a certain cost to manage that marketing channel. Let's just say you did PPC and Facebook with us. Now your cost to manage your Google is actually lower than it was. And then now you have an additional cost to manage the Facebook as well. So you save on management fees that way. So altogether, it's a good, like, well-rounded marketing strategy, and it like plays nice with other things. Like, for example, Facebook has, what I was just talking about was all just cold traffic on Facebook. Facebook also has the most robust retargeting platform that exists in the world. And retargeting, if you're not familiar with it, is like, let's just say, and everybody, you can be my guest, go test this right now. Go to batemancollective.com. Let me just throw you on my remarketing list. What you're going to find is that in 3 months, I'm going to run into you and you're going to be like, you guys are everywhere. How are you everywhere? I see you on YouTube. I'm seeing you on Facebook. I keep on seeing your ads. You guys must be spending like $1 million a month on ads. I see them so often. When the reality is, we're just marketing to all those people who've already been to our website. So we just have a really small list. And you'd be surprised. Most real estate wholesalers for like $1 a day on Facebook could hit everybody who's been to their website like 7 times a month with ads. It's pretty significant. So retargeting is like one of the best values in digital marketing. It's insanely cheap. And it makes it so that there's benefits from other channels. Like someone gets your direct mail piece, so they check you out online. And then now you show up with them to them consistently on Facebook, which builds your credibility, showing them your different testimonials or whatever the case is. So that's where like there's synergies between them. Like you could have someone coming through Google where you just paid $50 for that click. They come to your website, but then they don't fill out the lead form. So what just happened? You spent $50 getting someone to your website, and then now they don't fill out the lead form. And your options to follow up with that person are non-existent, except now with Facebook remarketing, you could pay 2 cents per time you keep an ad in front of them, and eventually they might convert. So that's, anyways, and it happens with all marketing channels. So there's some level of overlap that makes it pretty worth it. And I think a good part of a well-rounded strategy, although usually at a smaller budget than what PPC would be.
Yeah, and I absolutely love it when I'm talking with the seller and they're like, I see your stuff everywhere. And I'm like, good, it's working.
Because you clicked on it.
Right?
Yeah.
So
just for you, just your universe has my face everywhere, not anybody else's universe.
Well, I can tell you, I've been seeing your stuff for a very long time. So everything you said is correct. And I keep seeing your ads and all the things popping up. So everything that Brandon is talking about is spot on, right? Obviously you do this for a living, so you're the pro, but I'll tell you, I keep seeing your stuff all of the time. And I'm like, oh yeah, that stuff works. And I love hearing that from our clients too, or from sellers, not clients, but sellers of ours that we talk to. Once they click on our website or Facebook or something like that, Facebook does a pretty good job of keeping up with them and getting them back in the door.
Exactly. Yeah, that's where Facebook's like one of the best platforms because it has a high impact media that a lot of people use. So across all of Facebook's properties, be it like Instagram or Facebook, there's just a ton of people there. Like most people use at least one of those platforms. And then it's not like you'll find a lot of retargeting. You'll find retargeting companies and different ad platforms that specialize in it, where they just kind of do those banner ads on websites. And the reality of those is you'll get a ton of people seeing the ads, but they just don't work super well at the end of the day, because they don't impact things very much because you're just kind of like there sort of on the side versus in Facebook, you get this medium that you can show them the ads through where it's normal for maybe 2% or more people to click on them and at least to have a really solid brand impression. So that's part of what makes Facebook really, really good for retargeting. I think it's known by most marketers. Like there's no better retargeting platform. You can retarget things like Facebook straightforward.
It really is. And, I feel like with short form content really being huge now, would you say video is being used to, run ads, or are you still sticking with like just a stagnant post, or what are your thoughts on that?
So we did a test across many of our clients and gathered the data. And it turns out that videos did not work necessarily. Well, videos work better than images on average for our Facebook ads. However, there's one thing that works better than videos, which is videos and images. And Facebook, if you get it more forms of media, it has the ability, and this just goes like so much. This is the kind of stuff that you can do with online marketing and most people just don't even realize exists. And if you really understood this, then you'd be mind blown a little bit in how it works. But Facebook allows you to put like multiple assets in an ad, and then they use their predictive technology to determine when they're showing the ad to a person in your audience, which one of those assets will be most impactful to that person. Because some people have a preference to a type of media, be it images or video or whatever the case is. So videos on average are more impactful, but videos and images together is the most impactful option we found.
So kind of stagger them, have not just one ad running, have a few different ones running, and then obviously Facebook's technology they're a huge software company, right? So
it's almost scary how much Facebook knows about it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, over 10,000 data points per user. Last I checked, is what they have, and it's very. If you look at it from a marketer standpoint, that's what's valuable. Like everybody approaches this from the standpoint of, well, is the property in probate or are they in pre-foreclosure or whatever the case is. When you go into online marketing, you're in a whole different realm of data. Like we still use data, yes, but like the data is like online browsing history. It's connecting that to other data sources, and as a marketer, you don't see most of the data, but there's a ton of it, and it's actually very predictive of someone being a motivated seller or not being a motivated seller. But there's certain ways to like access and target that, and that's kind of like a lot of the magic of what we do. Like a lot of people want to target the right people. The way we look at it is it's all about getting the ad out there that's going to qualify the right people from the audience, and not just attract everybody, but just attract the right people. And it's all about that feedback loop with the platform where you go back and you tell Facebook or you tell Google, you got me a lead here, or yes, this was a good lead, or yes, this was a bad lead. And that helps the platform find more and more people similar to the ones that you're wanting to find the most. That's how most of the targeting works online these days. It's not like we're sitting there saying, oh, we want people in pre-foreclosure. It's that we start running the ads, we have a good qualifying ad. When we get success, we communicate that success. When we get failure, we communicate that failure to the platform, and then the AI helps you find more and more of the people you're looking for.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Well, and it's interesting too because we're all part of the family mastermind, and I was listening to some of the guys talking about how technology now, especially with AI, they're able to find out, like maybe you searched how to sell my house, but you didn't click in anything, where they could predict this person's going to sell their house before they even really start reaching out to people with their predictive technology. And I'm sure it's like what you said, if you've got just on Facebook alone, 10,000 data points on one person, think about what else you're searching on Google and all the other platforms. I mean, they're tracking. I mean, they know what's going on in your life from your phones now, if you're on Zillow or all these other things. I'm sure that technology gets shared. And obviously now they're able to help Brandon and his team get you more better qualified leads. Right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, 100%. It's crazy how it works and how smart it is and how different it is from like the other forms of how we target. But if you think like one thing that's really cool, like just on that note, that's insanely cool about Google, that Google essentially has a monopoly on a specific type of targeting called intent-based marketing. And that's really where the magic is. Because if you look at what is most predictive of behavior, a lot of people are like, well, demographics, I'm looking for people that are 55 years old or older, something like that. You're like, that correlates a little bit, but no, it's not super predictive. Turns out the most predictive thing of future behavior is actually past behavior. And within that behavioral category, the most predictive things are intent-based behaviors. Like you mentioned Family Mastermind, that we went to Tampa. Like I visited Tampa, I don't know, it was a month or two ago. Do you think Google knew that I was going to go to Tampa? Yeah, they probably knew, because they probably saw that I searched for like flights from Salt Lake City to Tampa. Right. So at that moment, Google knows more about my intent to go to Tampa than probably anybody else. And what's the more predictive thing of me going to Tampa? Is it that like I'm in some zip code where people often like to vacation in Tampa, or I'm in the real estate industry and sometimes people go to conferences there? No, it's that I typed into Google like flight to Tampa on these days.
Right.
That's intent-based marketing. The fact that I search on Google for a way to sell my house or something like that, like almost nothing could be more predictive of me actually being a seller. And that's what makes these platforms really, really powerful. And that's why people really like these channels when they run them and talk so much about them, because the type of lead you get and the type of conversation you have is way, way different, because the people are actually actively looking for an investor. They're not just like someone you reached out to, right? So when they ask you what your price is for their house, that's a different conversation when they came to you versus when you're going to them and trying to convince them to sell a house that maybe they don't want to sell.
Right. Well, and it's funny you say that, because I just, I was car shopping a few months ago, and don't talk about looking for a new car, because you will get so many like things sent your way. I'm still getting a ton of stuff, right? And I already bought the car. So, but just knowing that I was looking for a car, and it goes to anything. You're looking for a paper towel, like you're going to get like all the different things sent your way. So it's neat. I mean, I think, and I heard this two ways, because I ran into somebody who was marketing a long time ago, and they're like, they collect your information, and so many people think that's bad or wrong. But also too, if you're going to get targeted with things, shouldn't it be things that you should be actually interested in, right? And should I be getting ads on my stuff about stuff that I've got like it's not very helpful, right? So for me, 100%. I actually, and I think it helps. So if I'm looking for a car, I want to see stuff about cars. I don't care about diapers, especially because my kids aren't even in diapers anymore, right? So I shouldn't be seeing Huggies ads.
It is crazy. I think like when we were little, commercials were like the thing, or radio ads, but now we all live on these devices and it's like 24/7, like doesn't stop.
If you think about it, online advertising has largely enabled like niche products that couldn't as easily exist before, because it wasn't as possible for them to find like the people who would want that thing. But with online marketing, it's so much more possible now. So I think it's a net positive for the world. People, I'm a little bit unique in that. I think most people just are a little bit scared, like, they have a lot of data on me, like they're creeping on me. Some employee at Facebook's like, ooh, he was looking at this online. Like, I'm judging Joe because of this or something. And it's like it's kind of far from the truth. Like, it's more like a relevance algorithm, and I guarantee you nobody has time to look at your private
and all this stuff
information. No, but it's so I'm 100% with you. I think it's like a net positive, but it's you and I are the minority, the small minority of that. Hence, there's a lot of a lot of regulations and things like that going into place that are making a lot of this work a little bit differently. So that's kind of the changing landscape that we're in the digital marketing world. Is privacy is at odds with ad buying.
So part of what you're hiring Brandon and his team to do is not only just to obviously just spend your money and get some leads thrown your way, but how to get the best leads, how to conquer all of these little workarounds that every single time. I learned this from my old boss. He's like, things will be going great in your business, then all of a sudden something happens. And when that something happens, you got to figure the workaround, and then you figure that workaround and things get cruising again, and then they're going to hit you with something else. And I could tell you, Facebook has done that before. Many other have too. And you've got to figure out what that workaround is in order to, make it continue to work. And I think that's the part of having an agency doing it for you, rather than you try to be the one trying to figure out on your own. You'll give up.
Well, yeah. And people even come to me and say, well, I tried to run my own ads. I spent hundreds of dollars and I got one person, and I don't even try to explain. I didn't try to figure it out. Like, you got to go to the professionals, because you guys know all the back end, the workarounds, like you're saying, but there's a lot of things that are happening. It's not just as simple as create an ad and post and go. Like, it's not how it works.
So Brandon, let me ask you a question. Yeah. Say I create a post on Facebook and it's like, I buy houses or whatever, and I want to boost my ad, right? Does that even work? I mean,
depending on how you define the word work. Exactly. Make money or boost the ad. Like, it definitely works boosting it. But so actually, I'll explain how it works. So let's just say you make an ad on Facebook and then you boost that post. That is the equivalent of running an ad, but no, it won't work well. The reason it won't work well is because basically what Facebook does behind the scenes, and you can see this in your account if you look at it, you click that boost, it created an ad account for you in the background. It created a ad, which was just your post for you. And then you just put like a certain number of dollars behind it for like a certain geographic region, usually which is like an impressions as a goal or something like that. So here's the issue that comes with that is, let me tell you about an experience that I had in e-commerce. This will show you like how important this is. So I worked with this company in e-commerce where we were just going gangbusters on their online marketing. We took them, like, when I started working with them, they were spending like $1,000 a day on Facebook ads. And now within 2 weeks, we were spending $40,000 a day on Facebook ads. So we were just throwing money at this thing. And it was working. We were getting a lot of customers. The company was growing. It was more like a VC funded, like high-tech startup sort of space. So which is super fascinating world to like learn like the limits of some of these platforms and what you can do and what you can't do. Like, who would have known you got to get on a call with someone on Facebook if you want to spend more than $10,000 a day? I didn't know that until I did this. And suddenly I was like, why can't we spend more than $10,000? And then you learn these lessons. So anyways, in this process, one of the things I changed is I tried doing a different optimization of goal. An optimization goal is basically what you tell Facebook, I want to optimize for this thing. So we were doing a lot of tests, and believe it or not, with that budget, it was getting a little bit thin to do as many tests as we wanted to do. So I was like, well, let's stop optimizing for purchases. Let's optimize for somebody adding this to their cart instead. And when they add it to their cart, then there's a 20% chance that they purchased it. I think those people will correlate really well with that, but we have a lot more data points for adding to cart than we do for purchasing. So we start to optimize for adding to cart. Believe it or not, what happens after we start optimizing for adding to cart? Guess what happened to the number of add to carts that we got from our Facebook ads?
Probably it went up.
It went up a lot because we started optimizing for that. But guess what happened to the ratio between those who added to their cart and those who purchased? It was at 20% who added it to their cart would end up purchasing. Now 2% of those who added to their cart would end up purchasing. So here's how Facebook works. It's really good at getting you whatever you ask for. And it somehow seems to always find a way to get people who will do just that action, but never the actions deeper in the funnel that you actually care about. So if you optimize a Facebook ad for like, I just want as many people to see it as possible, you're going to be mind blown by how many people see that ad. And you're going to be so confused about how you got so little business, even though your ad got seen so much. Let's just say you tell Facebook you want link clicks. You want people to click to your landing page. You're like, oh, my landing page converts at 2%. And I'll get all these link clicks and everything's good. You're going to be mind blown when your landing page conversion rate goes down to 0.2%. And you get tons of link clicks. And then none of them are the type that actually convert. The same thing could be like if you just focus on optimizing for any lead, you'll get way more leads, and then the quality is not there, right? So you have to just go deep enough in the funnel of how you optimize it. When you boost a post, it just optimizes for like a basic action, like just how many people we reach or something like that. And it's really attractive to somebody who knows nothing about ads, because they're like, wait, Facebook's saying for $50 I could reach like this many people. That feels like a really good deal. But the reality is, if you set up a campaign right, then you can optimize based on, we don't even optimize based on leads. We optimize a little bit deeper in the funnel based on, it's what we call a sculpted lead. It's like a lead that matches certain criteria based on how they filled out a form. And then if you do that, what you're going to notice compared to boosting a post is the number of people who see your ads goes way, way down. But the percentage that click on it goes way up. And the percentage from those that click that end up converting goes way up. And then the quality of those leads goes way up. So that's the core difference. Does that make a little bit of sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Interesting, because we've had folks on, that's how I first tried. I was like, oh, let me boost this post, see how it happens. And I was like, wow, look at all these people that saw it, but nothing happened.
Yeah.
And I was like, awesome. Like, how much do I have to spend to actually get it to happen, right? And then we realized running campaigns, having, retargeting, and how important and how inexpensive retargeting is. So once they've clicked on you once, if they don't continue, they'll keep chasing them down, and hopefully they get to that. So,
well, especially in our line of work, like you got to connect with a human at some point. Like you can only click and whatever, but when you're talking houses, like you've got to get on the phone and talk to the seller. And I think that's something that's so important too, is like collect the information, get on the phone and start talking, because that is where the magic happens. As I see one of our investor friends popping on here, Cody, you use your phone, next thing you know, you're chatting, helping out with the seller, and you help them with their house, and everybody walks away happy.
So if I'm already an investor and I'm ready to put some fuel to my marketing budget, maybe I've done deals and I'm looking to really kind of turn it up, what's the best way for them to reach out to somebody like yourself? Obviously you guys, what do you recommend?
Yeah, so you're already doing some deals consistently. You're ready to turn it up a little bit. I would look into online marketing as one of the options. I'm not one of those guys that's going to tell you it's the only way. Like we talked about some of the benefits today. It also can be kind of expensive. It can take, sometimes people are frustrated with like there's down months and there's good months, and like you got to be at a point in your business where you're ready to deal with that. But it's at least worth a consult. So yeah, if anybody was kind of curious, you can check out our website, batemancollective.com, and on there you can schedule a call with someone on my team. We'd be a digital marketing strategist that would meet with you about your specific market, your specific scenario, and help you understand. Does it make sense? The other group of people that we run into a lot are those who have already tried to run these campaigns of some type, and then it just hasn't worked for them for whatever reason. So we do have a service for those people too. The biggest mistake that I see people making is that they just keep on trying it over and over again without understanding what went wrong. We even have people come to us that we're like the 6th or 7th agency that they've worked with. They just keep on going like 2 months here, then 2 months there, then 2 months there, and just keep on like they're just going to every possible agency you could imagine. So if you've done this before and you're like, no, what he's saying is full of it. Like I tried PPC, it doesn't work. It didn't work for me. Or I tried Facebook ads, it doesn't work. It didn't work for me. Whatever the case is. Thank you, David.
Thank you, David.
So if you're someone in that situation, the most important thing that you can do is understand why did it not work. We have a comprehensive review process where we kind of dig through all your metrics in your account to better understand why did we not get success here. Is it that the PPC was run well and maybe your sales process failed? Or was it that there's a sign that something could have been different in the campaign and the symptom you're feeling matches the data? And then we understand that if we change this, we're more likely to get it to work. You got to go through that diagnostic, and that's free too. So same place, batemancollective.com. And then if you're just kind of like, I still want to learn more about this and understand it more deeply, and you like this kind of content and you want to know more about online marketing, I do have my own podcast. You can find it at podcast.batemancollective.com. It's called the Collective Clicks Podcast. We have tons of episodes in there going deep into Facebook marketing, where we talk about all kinds, or I'm sorry, not just Facebook, but Google, PPC, SEO, everything. So if you're one of those people that just wants to be educated, you want to be able to like know that you're talking to someone that knows what they're doing, and you want to be able to vet out whoever you're working with or whatever the case is. You just want to learn more. That's a great place to go.
Yeah, and I agree. And what I got to say is when I hear, hey, this doesn't work, I think most of the time it's user error. And sometimes maybe you don't know how to put a deal together, and maybe it's some skill like that, because what you guys are going to do is get them some leads, get them some sellers. But if you don't know and you fumble that bag when you finally get that lead, it's all for nothing. So speed to lead, extremely important, right? If you just got a lead and Brandon's company sends you a hot lead, hot one, and today's Tuesday and you don't get to it on Sunday afternoon, guys, your closing ratios are going to go way down. Don't call him up and be like, this doesn't work. Right? You waited 5 days to call that seller back. If you get a lead, call them as soon as possible. And we have a company policy when a lead reached out to us, I want them contacted in under 60 seconds. And it sounds wild. And you're like, how is that even possible? Once they hit send, they raise their hands, they want to sell. That's when you need to reach out and grab them by their hand and get on a phone call with them, right? So it works. And it's obviously working very well for many clients all over the country. So it works, but you got to make sure you understand the process of buying, selling real estate before you're going to go pony up to really help take your business off. So if you've never done a deal, do that first deal or two first. Get some marketing budget and get that concept of it worked underneath your belt. And then when you want to put some fire onto it, these are the guys to reach out to talk about, hey, what does this process look like? They'll do a consultation with you.
Yeah, and that's where the who, not how comes into place. So I will never, ever know half of what you just, I mean, I understand what you're saying, but like you can tell, like you've done your research. I'm sure your entire company, like everybody knows the ins and outs, like all the things that we just, as business owners, I don't have time to go figure that out. We are busy on our end doing the other business things. So, you know, it's okay to put your money in good hands when, like Joe said, you've already got it ramped up, ready to go, and, you know, hiring the people that know what they're doing. So definitely good advice there.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think I love that idea of having the 6-month runway. The runway means you've got money set aside for 6 months of you doing this consistently for 6 months. And then you're going to start getting the results. And yeah, you could get lucky. You could get one sooner, but it takes time to build anything great. This is not some get rich quick overnight thing. Don't want you to think you're going to make $1 million an hour doing this.
Yeah, don't go run into like, hope this works with your credit card. That's just a little frightening. So.
No pray and spray, right? Like you got to really try to make this thing work.
Yeah, we would never tell someone to do it. It's happened before where I've told people, I gotta have 6 months of money in the bank, and then they tell me after, actually, I just put it on a credit card.
Oh my word!
But it's, you know, everybody has their own risk tolerance, right? You also, I can't push my own conservative views on other people of like what they should do with their money. You gotta know what you're getting yourself into. I'm 100% with you, Joe. That you gotta you'll find that these types of leads are probably among the most expensive you have. Also the highest quality. So the most important thing is, like, if you are new, is get your reps on cheaper leads, because like there's no avoiding it. If you're newer, like you're going to screw something up. You're going to screw a lot of things up. I mean, even if you're more experienced, you're going to screw a lot of things up. It's nice to screw up on a free lead. It's not as nice to screw up on a $300 lead. So that's gold. I 100% agree with you. Like, leads and volume and reps. And then at some point, you'll start thinking, I have to talk to 50 people to get a deal done. I wonder if I could make that number 15, and then I could do so many more deals. And that's where the doors start to open to these channels.
Yeah. So if you're just trying to figure it all out, keep figuring, right? But when you're ready to, and you have figured it out, and you're ready to start taking off, these are the guys, like I said, talk to them. And we don't get there's nothing, but we really see the value in having an agency looking over your ad accounts to make sure everything is being ran the correct way. And, you know, you're getting a good return on your money. That's key.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your day, Brandon. I know you're a busy guy, so we appreciate all the value you brought to us today.
And thanks for coming, because all of our listeners are going to get a ton of value. So once again, guys, if you're listening now, you could hear us on all the podcast channels. Don't forget our YouTube channel. Check out Brandon and all of his stuff too, guys. And this is what's going to help you get some leads. Like our coach first said, how we started this, if you don't have leads coming in, you don't have a business. And that's the most vital part of the business. So thank you so much, Brandon, for coming today. Great seeing you as usual. Great hanging out with you a month ago at the Family Mastermind here in Tampa. and we look forward to connecting again soon. So thank you so much for everybody tuning in today.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody. I'll see you next time.
See you guys.